Hi, my name is Pam. This is the story of how a small group of us, in need of housing, working with government and others, built a neighborhood for ourselves following the managed land settlement process. The story starts with us looking for land on which to develop houses and create a neighborhood, as well as getting the necessary planning and environmental approvals to develop this land. I used to live in an informal settlement and felt that I had no hope for the future. It took a flood, which washed away my shack, to make me realize I had to do something for myself if I wanted my children to have a good future. A group of us who were affected by this flood got together and elected a housing committee to try and find out how we could go about getting houses for ourselves. As a committee, we started negotiating with government and others around us to try and find land that was well located for our needs and that was also suitable from a municipal planning point of view. After looking at lots of different pieces of land and getting environmental, town planning, and other studies done, we finally found a suitable piece of land. Government and a local NGO then helped us to produce a broad framework plan that showed how the land would be subdivided for houses, schools, other facilities, and where the main roads would go. They also arranged for various environmental, rezoning, and other approvals to be obtained. Luckily for us, the land we identified was already planned for low-income housing in the municipality's Integrated Development Plan. So it was quite easy for the municipality to make sure the land had access to bulk water and sanitation infrastructure. The municipality also made sure that our piece of land linked to their plans to expand the public transport system. We spent a lot of time discussing in the community and negotiating with government on how we would decide on who would be allocated to our managed land settlement project. The municipality and the NGO helping us also spent time applying for money from different government programs to do all the different studies, buying the land and putting in bulk water and sanitation infrastructure. We now had all the necessary approvals to start our managed land settlement project. As a group, we could now shift our attention to planning what the residential blocks in our project could look like and how we could hold the land in a secure way. We also looked at how we could get some basic level of services so we could move on to the land. Households who had been allocated to the different blocks came together and organized themselves into groups. For example, we established different subcommittees to look at how we could get training in construction, how we could plan our blocks, and how we could hold our land in a secure way. One of these subcommittees, with the support of the local NGO and government, organized workshops where we planned where we would like our plots and roads to be within our residential block. We were even able to mark these plots out on the land so we could see exactly where everything would go. Each household in our group was given an occupation certificate. This is a type of land tenure security that outlines each household's rights and responsibilities in relation to living on the land, and as well as in relation to the group who had been chosen to manage the land. We arranged for communal standpipes and on-site composting toilets to be provided to each block as a basic minimum level of services. Right from the start, our committee made sure that proper planning was done to develop schools, clinics, community halls, building material yards, and other community facilities as soon as possible. We prioritized the development of taxi shelters and pavements as we knew that many of us would rely on walking and public transport to get around. We had to rely quite a lot on government to help us get these basic services and organize the basic tenure. Luckily, this was not too difficult as we were not asking for a lot of money for all of this. We could now finally move on to the land. The land had been properly planned. We had access to basic services, and we also knew that we could not easily be kicked off the land. The challenge for us now was to use what little resources we could get to create a nice home and a neighborhood for ourselves. We realized we needed to continue to organize ourselves if we wanted our area to be further developed. So we arranged for more training, like how to take minutes and many other skills. This was an exciting time for us as we started to develop our plots. We continued to save money and helped each other to get building materials so we could improve our homes. There were also some other ongoing expenses, like having to pay for things like refuse removal. We also conducted a skills survey to see what resources we had and could use. We agreed with the municipality on what to do if anyone who wanted to leave their plot or wanted to use their land for business or something else. We worked closely with government and kept good records so we knew exactly who was on which piece of land doing what. We organized the building of our own houses using our own resources. With approval from the municipality, we developed our own rules on what type of houses people could build. In some cases, construction advice and support was also provided by government and others. Some of us started to use our plots to grow food and raise small animals. Government and others also helped some of these household gardeners to become quite successful. Other households also began to use their plots to run small businesses. They needed to make sure they got approval for this from relevant authorities. Government and other small business support organizations and even some employers provided training and small business loans to these businesses. We all wanted a nice, safe, secure neighborhood, so we also organized local community policing forums. Throughout this whole aided self-development phase, we drew on what money and resources we were able to organize from amongst ourselves and from others who were willing to help us. With very little besides our skills and resources, we had achieved quite a lot. Many of us had built some very nice homes. We had turned the whole housing development process upside down. We did not wait for government to give us an RDB house. We could invest our own resources on our own land right from the start. We knew that there was little chance for being evicted. We turned our attention to look at how further government resources could be used to add to what we already started. Government was now ready to come back to our community and help us upgrade our neighborhood. We discussed how we wanted to hold our land. We considered group ownership and rental, but in the end we decided on individual ownership. In consultation with the municipality, we agreed to use the government housing subsidies to upgrade to a water connection per plot and flush toilets. Government arranged for this to be done using local labor. At various stages of the development process, our committee also negotiated with different government departments to upgrade the schools, clinics, small business advice offices, and other social and economic facilities. The municipality upgraded the public transport system, so it is now easy for us to get to different parts of the city for jobs, education, entertainment, and any other opportunities that the city has to offer. Finally, those of us that qualified were now able to get a government housing subsidy. But because we had done so much already, we did not just get a normal RDP house. Each household was able to choose how they could use their subsidy to add and improve what they already started. Effectively, what government did was they first helped as many people as possible get a planned piece of land with basic tenure and basic services. They then came back to us, as promised, and in partnership with us, used housing subsidy funding to help us upgrade what we had already started. We have now reached the phase of the story where those of us who started out together have finally received a government housing subsidy. This, however, is not the end of our story, as managed land settlement never ends. We now need to maintain what we have built and look at how we can improve our houses and neighborhoods so they better match our needs and aspirations. We continue to use our own resources to maintain and improve our homes, gardens, and local businesses. Where possible, we also continue to access housing, agricultural, and small business support services. Together with the municipality, as well as government in general, and in consultation with local associations we have established, we continue to maintain and improve schools, health services, and other community facilities and public spaces. We also continue to work with the municipality to improve the water, sanitation, electricity, and other services that they provide for us. There were many times during the long development process where we could reflect on what we had done in the previous phases, and we used this information to inform us on what we should do next. It is wonderful to be part of a community that is growing and developing. We are now treated as a normal suburb of the city, paying our fair share for rates and services. For those households that still can't afford this, the municipality gets money from national government to subsidize some of these services. In this way, government is able to continue to provide and maintain spaces, services, and facilities for us to an appropriate standard. Our story has been a long one. All of us who are involved have learned a lot about how to develop nice houses and neighborhoods. We are now able to share these lessons with you and others who may be facing similar challenges to those we faced when we started. I hope that our story will inspire you to also consider identifying and developing land by following the managed land settlement process. We have now reached the end of my story. Let's remind ourselves how we got here. Firstly, in the bulk preparation phase, our community and government worked together to identify and get land ready for development. Secondly, in the basic development phase, government arranged for land tenure security and basic services. Thirdly, in the aided self-development phase, we used whatever resources we could get as a household and as a community to build what we could on this land. Fourthly, in the upgrading phase, government came back and helped us upgrade the houses, tenure, and neighborhood that we had already started to develop. And then, in the final maintenance and ongoing development phase, we will continue to organize and find ways to improve our houses and neighborhood even more. I hope that my story has shown you how a few dedicated people working together and displaying good leadership qualities are able to partner with government and others to incrementally co-create their own future. My advice to you, if you want to achieve similar results, is to start with what you have, where you are now. Don't wait for and depend on others to do things for you. Work with those who are willing. As an individual and as a group, identify and work towards your long-term goals. Don't give up. Take whatever small steps and actions you can at that point in time. Use this momentum for doing things to leverage in what additional support you can get. Make sure you learn from and build on your experiences, and share your experiences to inspire others to follow similar paths. It's now up to you to be the author of your own story.